Is this the part where we play our magical intro and?
Wow, look at you two! Look at you two all in sync with the hand thing. Hello, hello everybody out there in internet land. Welcome to the July 10th, 2020 edition of Disney Parks Talk Live, or at least what we're calling it this week. I am Doobie Mosley, co-founder of Laughing Place, and other than that, I don't know my title. Let's see if I can get this right 3 times in a row. That way is Jeremiah. What is your title?
As I was demoted to just Central Florida chief person, since I can't cover all of Florida, I'm just Central Florida.
And down there is Mike Celestino. He has multiple titles.
Southern California, since you're up there in Northern California.
And Star Wars guy.
Star Wars.
And down there is Shelly, who has no official title, but we love her anyway.
But she's on the Going MCO.
Okay, that works.
I'm official, I'm co-pilot sometimes.
Our normal fourth, my lovely wife Rebecca, is a tad bit under the weather today, but happily we have another to sit in with us today. So anyway, lots to talk about today. Let's get to it. First off, something happened. Our last show last week was Thursday, so if I'm not mistaken, something very important has happened since then. Oh, there it is. Hamilton has debuted on Disney Plus. So, no, just kidding. Just kidding. That's only important to me. Let's get back to the real show. Jeremiah got to go to the Magic Kingdom. We are all jealous. And Shelly, I'm sorry. And we are all so jealous. So let's just jump right in there, Jeremiah. What's it like to go to a theme park?
So to preface this, a couple of days ago, Doobie asked me all about, how did it feel? And it's like, do you want spoilers? And I'm like, no, we'll wait for this. So I think Shelly probably agrees with me on this. It's just like walking into the theme park it was 4 months ago, just with less people and more signs saying, stop here, stop here, stop here, sanitize. But it's great to be back. Both Shelly and I spent almost the entire day in the parks. I had a ton of fun. Because of the limited attendance, it was amazing. It was like being there for a special, like the old days of the Mickey's Not So Scary, where it seemed like you were the only people in the entire park. That's how it was almost the entire day with us.
Yeah, it was very surreal at times because you're used to there being such a buzz and an energy going on in the parks. But when there aren't as many people, it's a totally different place.
So while you guys talk, I'm just going to show some pictures. You don't have to discuss the pictures, but but since we've got a picture, what am I looking at here? Or they still have parades?
No, they do not have parades, and they have no set schedules. They do have cavalcades, which we're looking at the Princess. I can't remember the full term, but it's the Princess Cavalcade. It starts off with Merida on her horse, and then it has Rapunzel and I was about to say Snow White, but I guess I would have been wrong. Rapunzel and Belle, I think, are on the gazebo float. And this float, as some people may know, is Benji's all-time favorite float. Has the rest of the princesses, including Elena of Avalor. Shelly, how's that coming up? Oh, my.
Of Avalor.
Oh, my goodness. Mike, you never stop surprising me.
Mike, who's your favorite Disney princess?
Oh gosh! Oh, you really
jumping right into
that one on me. Who's my favorite Disney princess? I'll say Anna.
Ooh.
Doobie, is that correct?
That is not correct, but it's not a horrible choice. No, the correct answer is right there. She's I think hair jet black, skin white as snow, something like that. She's the one in yellow and blue, and she is by far the greatest Disney character in history. But this isn't about her today. So why don't you talk a little bit about, let's take you through a little bit. So just getting in the park, did you take the monorail in?
We did take the monorail in. So anybody that's been on any of the Walt Disney World monorails knows that we're starting here. Okay. Well, do we have
organized? I'm not that organized.
Okay. So you actually you go through a temperature check, just like you've done Disney Springs, Downtown Disney, any theme park or any place that has the temperature check. You walk up, the touchless temperature check, they check you. If you're under 100.4, you're good to go. If you're not, you and your entire party cannot enter at that time. Well, they'll send you to a secondary screening. So if your temperature is too high from being outside, they'll regulate it and everything will be fine. After you go through that, you go through a normal security. Not normal. You walk through holding your bag now. You don't take it out. They don't search through it or look into it. If you go through the metal detector and something sets it off, they'll have you pull out anything out of your bag that may be metal, everything out of your pockets. Ticket booth, and then you're at the monorail or the ferry boat, or to the right is the buses. We actually took the buses over and then the monorail back. But what they do to keep with the social distancing is they had the numbered markers on the ground. Can you go back one, Doobie?
I am not your PowerPoint boy.
Click.
The pressure.
It doesn't work. Oh, there it
Just
is.
real quick, it's worth noting that at bag check, they do ask if you have a large umbrella or any of the metal water bottles, because those will automatically set off their detector. So they do have you remove those before you go through. Sorry, I thought that was a big important part.
Thank you, Shelley. That was a great contribution, and I would have expected that from our Central Florida correspondent. So thank you.
Thanks. Now I'm just downgraded to like Busch Gardens. I'm not even in the Central Florida. I'm in Tampa. After you go through the bag checks and the ticket booth, you'll notice on the ground there are numbers. There's 6, 5, 4, 3, and I think it just stops at 2. And then when you're going up the ramp, there's the social distancing markers. And they have it figured out so those numbers take up how many people would be on one monorail. So if it goes back to 6, you're 6 monorails away from getting over to the Magic Kingdom. And then you step forward as each one goes. Very organized, really well done. But as Shelley and I know, the quickest way to get over to the Magic Kingdom is to take a bus. So we went over and jumped on the bus, we went over this a few weeks ago when the hotels opened. Smaller numbers on the buses. They actually they assign you now when you're getting on the bus. They're like, okay, you're in section 1, you're in section 2.
Wow.
Anyway, the monorail.
May I?
Shelley, do you want to talk about the monorail?
Looks different.
The monorail is different. You'll see that you would get on like you normally would. However, there is a partition between both sides of the cabin on the monorail. They tried to keep at least 1 to 2 parties so that it's 1 party per row on the monorail. We got lucky and we got our own half to ourselves, but it's just like you would normally imagine. I know that it looks like a lot of the monorails have gotten a little bit of a sprucing up, especially Peach got some new carpeting I saw in a few photos, but I mean, it's really the same experience, just actually a little nicer because you don't have everybody cramming in at that last second.
So presumably no standing on the monorail at all?
There is no standing. That is an announcement that they do make, is everybody must be seated.
Okay. You may continue. I may throw a picture up here like, oh, look how beautiful you guys got to see. I'm so glad.
Yes.
Now, I know pictures can distort, like when you're taking a long shot like this. This actually makes Main Street look a little bit crowded. You're saying that was not the case at all, right?
Not at all. No. Both Shelley and I walking down Main Street, like you could just turn and there would be definitely nobody within 6 feet. In some cases, nobody from one side of the street to the other.
I mean, it's important. The pictures in the morning were a little bit more crowded as far as Main Street goes, but it was one of those things where once everybody got in and they got their photos, they kind of took off and went in their own directions.
How did it feel inside the park? I mean, did you get a sense that people had any trepidation or anything, or just did it feel pretty normal?
It felt pretty normal. I mean, when people are asking me what I thought, how it was going back into the park, it was just like going into the park 4 months ago. But in Central Florida, with Universal, Busch, SeaWorld, Legoland, all the parks, we've gotten used to the social distancing, the hand sanitizers. So for Shelly and I, who've been to Universal and the other parks a few times, for us, it was very normal. It was very much like, okay, we're back in the park and it's less crowded and we had lots of fun. I think when Disneyland finally opens, it'll be interesting to hear Mike's take on it, because I'm guessing when they finally open up Disneyland, it'll be Disneyland and Universal and Knott's and everything at one time, where it won't be staggered like it was here, where we kind of got used to it. There wasn't a huge culture shock for us. I mean, when we went into Universal the first time, it was a little bit different, and we tried to get used to it. But by midday, it was just, okay, we just stand a little bit further away.
Now, I should clarify, you went, all these pictures are from, in your experience, are from an annual pass holder preview, correct?
Correct. Tomorrow is the first official day of opening. So we don't know how busy. Yeah, we're going off of the annual pass holder days, which, it definitely seemed like, just like I said, old party days where it was a very limited attendance.
So Shelly, maybe you could talk a little bit more about the experience. For example, this is Snow White's Scary Mine Train, I believe. What's it like to actually do attractions there? There's the mine train, you see the tiki room here. Things are definitely quite different. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the attractions themselves, you'll see there's a lot of markers. There are a lot of partitions, especially when there aren't available areas to social distance on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think Big Thunder Mountain as well had some, and some of those areas with the large plexiglass partitions. And while the experience of riding the attraction isn't the same, it's a little bit different in the fact that, the pre-show for Haunted Mansion isn't there. You lose some of that, little charm that you have.
How do they do the Haunted Mansion?
The stretching room is completely open. They don't have you going through the interactive cemetery area anymore, but you walk through the welcome area with the portrait of Master Gracie, and then you walk through the stretching room. The stretching room is all the way stretched out, and you just walk right in and wait your turn to get on your Doom buggy. And they don't have those switchbacks anymore because, again, it would be really hard to social distance. So really, it's you go in, you wait. A maid or a butler lets you know when it's your time to go up and step onto your Doom buggy.
So you don't get to hear the classic, is this haunted room actually stretching? They don't play it on loop or anything?
They play Welcome Foolish Mortals on a loop. So it's different, but once you get on the attraction, there's not really that much different. So that little kind of walk up, you're like, it's okay. Then you get on, you're like, oh, all right, we're on the ride.
But it is weird.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That they put the mask on the crow. That's the weird part. I just couldn't get around that. And Madame Leota too. That
caretaker
mask.
No, that's weird.
Yeah, that is a little odd. Yeah. Maybe he's never mind. So I was gonna see, you messed me up. No. So characters. We saw the cavalcade. I know they don't have any actual meet and greets. You can't get an autograph or a picture with the character right now, correct?
Correct.
So how do you get to see characters? This would have made a lot more sense if I had done this.
Ooh, look at that. Yeah. There's Doobie next. Nope. No, there's Doobie next. So the Country Bears are up on the second level above the Playhouse. Shelly and I both ran into Rabbit, Piglet, and Eeyore on what's it called, Shelly?
The porch.
Oh, the porch. That's right.
Are they okay?
Yes,
they're okay.
They're fluffy and they're fun. And when we walked in, they had Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy up on the train station, meeting everybody with the dancers for that cavalcade float around them, which we have a great video on our Twitter and YouTube account.
Yes, we do. YouTube.com/laughingplace. Please check it out.
One thing that I did kind of notice, and Jeremiah and I were talking about, was that it looked like when too big of a crowd kind of gathered, they kind of shuffled off to kind of disperse the crowd and kind of cut their time short. I think that's a really good call, because people did tend, especially with the Fab Five up there on the train station, really did just go, oh, and like head on over.
And it looks like the poop bunch is social distancing as well. Is that the case, or is this just coincidence?
Yes.
No, and the poo bunch, as they shall forever be known, they ride on the trolley, which I know we had a picture of earlier outside the castle. They go from town square up to the hub and then right back down, and then they came out onto the porch a little bit later on, much to my surprise, as I went running while I was trying to live stream
sprint.
And think of the word. There they are.
They're the poo bunch. Here, we got a quick question here since we're on characters. Maybe I'll pop that on the screen. You guys can give that a whirl. Do you think we'll see maybe some more rare characters brought out?
I certainly hope so. I really hope that they start to get creative with their opportunities here. I know that Chip and Dale were seen on a Tom Sawyer Island raft, and over at Animal Kingdom, a lot of the characters in their dinosaur outfits are out. So I'm really hoping they take this opportunity to throw out some of those rare characters and be really creative, because there's some really unique opportunities, I think.
Yeah,
the dogs are singing the song of their
I agree. I think one of the things about the rare characters is one of the problems that we see at events when they bring out rare characters is that's where everybody goes to. So keeping them a little, I think having the main characters, the Fab Five, the Pooh Bunch, the princesses, that's always a great, guarantee. And I think one of the biggest problems right now is we're thinking, oh, it would be great, but we're also the annual pass holders who are there every week and know all the stories. So we're looking at it in a much different light than the regular park guest would. Like, if a regular park guest finally comes to Florida or Disneyland, they don't want to see some rare character they don't know. They just want to see Mickey and Minnie and the regular characters.
You make a great point, Jeremiah. You are on your way to getting your normal job back.
SeaWorld, yours.
How does dining work these days?
So they're really encouraging mobile ordering. That's a really big thing that across the board at all of the theme parks, they really want you to have your mobile ordering set up through the official app, or to at least have your electronic wallet set up through your cell phone.
Yeah, one of the things, this is Aloha Terrace, where you scan the QR code with your camera. And if you don't know how to do a QR code, please just turn on your camera, point it at the QR code, a little thing pops up at the top, you press the button, there's your menu, there's how you order, or the My Disney experience. That's one of those ones that I've seen people at restaurants going, what's a QR code?
Yeah.
For like Cosmic Rays and the quick service, before you can even go into the restaurant, you have to mobile order and you have to get the My Order is Ready. When I did Cosmic Rays, mobile ordered, stood outside, waited. As soon as I got the green, it says go in and go to window 8. So
you cannot get in without having already mobile ordered?
No.
So dead phone batteries are not an option. You won't eat without a battery at Disney World.
Exactly, which is why, thankfully, Fuel Rod is still free at the parks.
Question for Mike, since I feel bad. We're 19 minutes in. He had a favorite walk around.
I'm gonna have a whole segment to myself. So.
I can't. No, not good enough. Favorite walk around character.
Oh my gosh! Oh boy, you guys are really putting me on the spot. You know what? I always enjoy seeing people interacting with Captain Jack Sparrow at Disneyland.
Oh, great choice. Excellent choice.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
Do you have my Captain Jack photo up ready, knowing that he was going to answer that? Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
I really need to learn how to bring up the photos on this because it would help. Go on.
Okay. Anything else about the experience of visiting a theme park before I let Mike have his turn?
Shelley, do you have anything?
I think the biggest things that we saw were make sure that you are wearing a real face covering, not a bandana or a neck gaiter. We saw
that coming up.
A lot of people get turned away even before temperature check for not having either one of those on. There are neck gaiters now that have like the little loops around the ears, and those are not allowed. So don't try to skirt the rules, which is the part 2 of this, because there are people all over the place watching. They've got the recreation cast members there with their little Donald Duck little faces. I think that's kind of their visual cue, like pull up your mask, kind of things. But just be courteous, be kind, and really just pay attention to those rules because they're there for your safety and for the cast members' safety. And yeah, those are my 2 things.
Cool. So as you can see on the screen right now, they did clarify the specific rules regarding face covering, since I think there was some confusion. And yes, they do have to fit snugly under the chin and around the ears. So those other what are the word for those that come up from the neck?
Neck gaiters.
Neck gaiters. Anyone know where that is? That like were they invented in Gatorland or something? Does anybody know where that comes from?
No, I think it's a hunting term, actually.
Yeah,
I knew that. I'm a big hunter myself. I'm sorry. I knew that. Yeah.
One more thing I want to add before we jump to Mike is all of the cast members were above and beyond, like from manager to ride op to custodial. Everybody was on point, making sure every guest was happy, taking care of every need, and especially making sure everybody was social distancing, wearing their masks. The park does have photo pass, which is nice because they were in some key areas that gave great photos. I know Shelley and I both have hitchhiking ghost photos from over by the mansion. So just if you do go to the park, especially, it's hot. It's hot for us. Yes, it's hot wearing a mask, but imagine the poor cast members that have to stand there in those hot costumes and be as helpful as possible.
Thank you for pointing that out, Jeremiah, our Florida correspondent. So over on the other coast,
Central Florida anymore. Yes.
By the exact same day that Jeremiah was visiting Magic Kingdom, on the other coast, Mike Celestino was also visiting a theme park resort, in this case downtown Disney, at the Disneyland Resort, and this is what he was greeted with.
Real quick, I want to amend my answer to your question.
Go ahead.
I regret not saying Red because she's been my favorite since she got introduced.
Really?
I was there on her first day. Look, June 8th, 2018. Red Pirate. So she's
good choice. I don't think I've ever seen her as a walk around yet.
Margot Robbie is great.
So we got to Disneyland Resort around 8:40 yesterday morning, and this was what we saw. This is actually, so my wife and I got there at 8:40. We pulled into the resort, and our car came to a stop right in front of the Mickey and Friends parking structure along Disneyland Drive on the way to the Simba parking lot. Then she generously offered to take over driving the car and let me get out and walk to get in line to get into downtown Disney. So I got out. The previous photo was me walking up. I was crossing from the Grand Californian Hotel to the Paradise Pier Hotel. I took that picture of the cars waiting to get into the Simba lot. The Simba lot had not opened yet at this point. I continued walking down, and I turned the corner past the end of the Paradise Pier Hotel, and this is where I got in line. This is adjacent to the Simba parking lot, and as I was standing there, like 5 or 10 minutes later, they finally opened the parking lot, and the cars started flooding in. And then at that point, they walked everybody in this line down that way, in the direction the line's pointing, around the corner, and we went through. Well, first they kind of lined us up in 2 more lines, but that didn't last very long. And then we went through the temperature screening tent, and then there was a dog sniffing tent. So they had little bomb
That's you
sniffing.
Sniff a dog?
That's the dog sniffing you, or you sniffing the dog? I'm just
Not just sniffing the bag, but you know, whatever floats your boat. And then it was the regular security tent, which they had new like plastic guards up between you and the security officers, but you kind of you had to unzip your bag and put it under the plastic guard, and they went through it real quick and they slid it back under to you. And then this is my next view where I was there. I was inside. I got in it was roughly like a half an hour before they had said it was going to open. So I got in I think 9:35. I was in downtown Disney, and it was real. I got kind of chills to be back there. As weird as it was, as weird as the situation was, and I didn't get to go into parks. Obviously, it was really cool to just be back on property and just kind of get that little taste of the Disney magic again.
So Jeremiah talked about how completely empty Magic Kingdom was. Did downtown Disney feel that way as well?
No, there were way more people at downtown Disney than I was expecting, because I had gone to City Walk a couple times since it opened, and both times it was completely dead. Even, the first day I went to City Walk, it was like an unannounced opening. So that day I wasn't surprised that there was nobody there. But the second time we went was just recently, and it was still empty. So I thought, well, maybe people just don't want to go right now, considering everything that's going on. But that was not true for downtown Disney. It was really, I won't say it was jam-packed, because most everybody was doing a good job at social distancing, but it was a crowded day at downtown Disney, a busy day.
How did, considering it was so busy and social distancing, how do they handle access to places like World of Disney?
Okay, so for World of Disney, one of those photos you just put up was people waiting in the queue, which started at the western entrance of World of Disney, and there we go. And it winded all the way down and around through the Esplanade. There were a couple switchbacks all the way down to the entrance to California Adventure.
Wow.
And then when you got to the front of that queue, you just put your name, you gave them your cell phone number and your name and the amount of people in your party, and you were on their list basically. And as soon as there was room for you, they would text you, and then you'd come back and get into the store. Well, you'd come back and get in another queue, and then you'd go into the store. This is actually later on in the day when the queue was much shorter, but right at the beginning of the day, that queue was very, very long. I guess people really wanted to get in to get that 65th anniversary merchandise that had just gone on sale.
Mike, one of the things that we saw when World of Disney opened here was that exact same thing. I don't think it's just 65th. I think it's just, hey, Disney merchandise, let's spend all our money.
That's what I was like. My first question was why, because I didn't, I figure most of this stuff is available online, right? But I did see some tweets from earlier in the day from inside World of Disney where they maybe weren't doing that great of a job of social distancing, because the 65th anniversary area was pretty crowded in that video that I saw in that tweet. But by the time, we waited till the early afternoon. I think we went into World of Disney around 2 p.m. And by that time, they were doing a pretty good job of preventing crowds from building up inside there. But yeah, this is my first view when I stepped into World of Disney. I used that nice the wide angle lens on the iPhone 11.
It's beautiful. You get in, and it's just like an oasis of Disneyness. It's very nice.
Yeah, there's not many people in there. This is right after I stepped into World of Disney in the early afternoon.
I would like to thank Christina for helping us out here with some of these comments.
There you go. You gotta go to World of Disney to get it right now.
Just checking out. I believe this is one of the cooler sites you saw that day, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, not only are there Hamilton posters in the Esplanade, but one of the other pictures, I don't know if you have it, but there's a Hamilton billboard inside California Adventure. It's actually, I figured it out. It's on the back of the Sunset Showcase Theater building. But you can see it from the Esplanade in the park.
Before we leave Hamilton, I'm sorry, I gotta do it.
Throw away his shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
As I posted, I could not say no to this. So, again, much like Florida, people seem perfectly comfortable there. Mike?
Yeah, I think probably. I don't know. I don't know how it was for you guys, other than what you said, but it seemed like everybody was comfortable and having a good time. And like I said, like 99% of the people were following the rules. Everybody, for the most part, was really good about the masks. Occasionally, we would see people with the mask down here with their nose hanging out, but we did, in one occasion, see a cast member ask them to lift the mask up over their nose, and they followed that instruction, so that was good. I did also see some people walking around eating with their masks off, which I guess is that technically allowed? So
yeah, eating or drinking, you can take your mask off.
Yeah, and then obviously people sitting at the outdoor restaurants were not wearing the masks at the table either.
So as far as the restaurants go, they had outdoor seating available, correct?
Yeah, I even asked us. We had a comment on the live stream about whether anyone was allowed to sit inside. So I went up and asked a hostess at I think Naples restaurant, and she said, yeah, even in the whole state of California, you're not allowed to have any indoor seating in the restaurants right now.
You still can't at home, right?
At home, I've been eating inside, yes.
Okay, just to make sure they haven't changed.
He's breaking the law, though.
Love that Disneyland shirt. Any other things about Monday you want to mention?
The thing that we did that ate up a lot of time was we waited to go into the Lego store, which is one of my favorite shops at downtown Disney, not quite realizing that, I guess I should have known that in the time between the shutdown and now, they didn't receive any new product. Like they had nothing that had come out since March. It was all older stuff. And I thought, I wanted to look at all the new sets because I hadn't seen them in person. But they were like, oh, yeah, we didn't get any shipments in that time. So they're going to be getting them soon, I guess.
Sorry, Mike, did they have that new TIE Fighter one? Or is that no?
No new TIE
Fighter. Oh, darn.
An inside joke.
I do not understand this Battlestar Galactica talk at all.
They did have that. One of the pictures you showed there was the pick-a-brick wall where Lego store, you can pick all those bricks out of the little buckets and put it in your own bucket, and then you can buy it. And it's depending on how much you can fit in that little plastic container. But obviously, that's not sanitary. So now you have to fill out that form, and the team member there fill the bucket for you, and then you can.
That doesn't seem quite as fun.
Oh, it doesn't.
You're supposed to jiggle it to try to make sure you get everything like down to the nooks and crannies.
Exactly. Yes, I've done that. And I didn't see anyone doing this. I wonder if anyone has done it. I guess if you have an emergency and you need some, 6x4 red plates.
Yeah, that's an emergency.
Yeah.
It is for Mike. Oh.
I had an emergency. All right, so back again over to Florida, where Jeremiah got to go someplace today that just reopened at Disney Springs. Probably my favorite restaurant at Disney Springs. I love eating there, and I think they have bowling too. Want to talk about Splitsville a little bit?
Splitsville opened today at 4. I really wish I would have paid more attention to the actual information that we put out that said 4 o'clock, as opposed to being there at 1:30 going, 4.
Central Florida correspondent Jeremiah there.
Before I do talk about Splitsville, though, the Pop Gallery, which is one of the original West Side shops, that's the nice little gallery on the other side of the AMC Theater, that closes at the end of this month. And that's where the glazed donuts and brew place is going to go.
Upgrade.
Walked in there. They actually have some sales going on. So I'm going to frequent there quite often, hopefully get some of their fun stuff before that closes. But that killed some of my time before 4 o'clock. There was actually a small group of us waiting outside for the doors to open. The manager opened up the doors. Like, I've been waiting 4 months to do this. Got us in. The changes that they've made, other than the plexiglass barriers between you and the employees, with Splitsville and with all bowling alleys, I guess, it's 2 lanes are connected by one large seating area, and they're only letting one party have 2 lanes. So you don't have somebody right next to you unless it is part of your group. So very nice. Everything was smooth. They have a limited menu, QR codes to get the menu. They do have paper in case you need it.
They still have the sit down portion of the restaurant? Okay.
Yeah, they sit down or bowling. Probably the biggest change is you can't go select your own bowling balls. They have in the rack area, they have kind of the range of extra small to the extra large bowling balls. So if none of those work for you, they will go get a different one, kind of work with your size to figure out which one you need and bring it over. But they had enough options in there where it wasn't a problem for me at all.
Well, you had very standard fingers, as I recall. Splitsville, I had a question. Did you happen to notice if the billiards or pool or whatever is open up there?
So they had both the feather bowling, which I have no clue what that is, but they have 2 of those upstairs, and they do have the billiards tables. Pool is what we call it here in America.
Snooker?
No, thanks. I like Reese's. They had one of the billiards tables was uncovered and the other one was covered. So they're only, I think they had, of the 4 tables they have in there, it was 1 on each side of the feather bowling. Yeah, everything was very normal, very smooth. The employees there were great. They were all excited to have us back. One thing that I will say, every time that I've gone somewhere where it's been the opening first whatever, the soda does not work.
Oh, no, it doesn't. That's a good point.
It doesn't bode well for Club Cool.
Well, it's not.
Too soon.
It's not their fault because they haven't had anything running through the lines in 4 months. And they, as we found out, Coke does have to come out and clean out all the lines. So it's starting anew, but they hadn't really had anything flowing for a while. So I think every single restaurant from the first day I went to the golf restaurant back by Four Seasons to today, it's been take 1 sip, wait for the server to come around and go, I'm so sorry, this just isn't right. And then 20 minutes later, after they've gone and tried to adjust every single line, then they bring me a Coke.
Question for Mike, bringing you in the fold here. What is your bowling average?
You know what? I'll say I'm not a terrible bowler. I've bowled, I think my high game ever is like a 203 or something.
Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa.
But I was on a bowling team in high school. That's the kind of bowler that I am.
Wait, we've got a banner for that. There it is. There it is.
Are we getting the Laughing Place Bowling League back together when this all?
I think we should. I think we should. Yeah. Bi-Coastal Splitsville Bowling League. Absolutely. So I saw something interesting today as I prepared for this show. At least I thought it was interesting. It's not hard to go to the Disney theme parks. They're not very packed at all in terms of this. So this is the calendar for what's available for the, what's it called again?
Park Pass reservation system.
That's what I thought too. Park Pass. So yellow means at least one park is closed. In the case of all of these, it's unavailable. And in the case of all of these, it really was just one park that I checked. And green means all 4 parks are available. So I don't know if it's related or not, but I do know that earlier this week, Disney, after having said you will not be able to buy tickets for 2020, now allows you to buy tickets for 2020. So for the low price of $109, any day, any park, you, assuming there's a reservation available, can go to a Disney World theme park now, which is really exciting for someone like me who thought, wow, I really can't go till 2021. But apparently you can. So
does that mean Mike can go back?
Well, no. No, I said you and me.
Oh.
Not Mike. So
but not Mike.
So I thought that was pretty exciting. Anybody else think that's just exciting or just me?
No,
Yeah,
so
It's
go on,
definitely
Shelley.
Cool. No, I'm saying it's definitely exciting because I know that a lot of people were bummed at the thought that, hopefully as the year goes on and things get a little bit better, that they might be able to actually now visit Walt Disney World, not just head to Disney Springs.
Yeah. And also, in addition, they also opened up hotel reservations for 2020, which previously they hadn't. So it's almost like they're open for business, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah. This morning, My Disney Experience did an update, and I went on, and now you can book your dining reservations back on the app. And then I, just like you, Doobie, went on to the website to look at the Park Pass reservation system and saw that actually days that had been closed had opened up. So I don't know if it means more guests can come in or if it's just they're trying to accommodate a little bit better.
Yeah, they've not made public at all what their actual capacity is, correct? So you don't know what it was for AP Day, right?
If I had to guess, I would probably guess where it was definitely under like a 15,000 day. I can remember hearing the stories of what the parties used to be and what the numbers used to be. And I know for the after hours events that they did when they first started, it was like 3,000. And that was told to me by a cast member. And it didn't seem a ton more than what it was, but it was definitely a low capacity day. I'm just ignoring that comment, Christina, by the way. So
Ignored it didn't happen.
We all saw it.
I'm just glad she doesn't have any pictures handy of me bowling.
If you do, Christina, you get them to me at doobie@laughingplace.com. They will end up on here. Hurry. So similarly, they've reenacted the 60-day reservation window for booking a dining reservation if you have a ticket or a hotel reservation, correct? That's not just for anyone yet, is it?
I believe you do have to have some type of entrance into the park. I haven't looked, maybe Shelley, you have, for if you don't have a hotel reservation, booking any of the restaurants in the hotels, but I haven't tried anything.
Yeah, just as long as you are logged into your My Disney Experience, because I can make them with my annual pass, but I can't get into the restaurants, in the hotels.
So that's exciting. I don't know, like I said, it just feels like things on the West Coast are really opening up. Mike, can you go to Disneyland yet?
No.
Okay.
I tried. I took the gate. They wouldn't let me in. No, but really, we stood out. I mean, they have like the ropes around the entrance to Disneyland under the monorail track there, so that's about as close as you can get. But we did stand there and we took selfies like we were in the park, and it was nice just to see the train station. That's as much as you can see.
I did think this was funny over at DCA. It looks like they don't have ropes there.
No.
Why when I speak is this echo's driving me crazy. And you can get right up to the gate, and it really looks like people are just waiting to get in the park there, which maybe they are, for all I know. Line up early, but I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Doobie, I think if you go down to the cam mic part, that's how you flip your camera around, and you can also adjust your microphones.
Well, don't just wait for me to do it.
Sorry. I was, since I got picked on for not being able to flip my camera that quickly yesterday. Thanks, Mike.
You had problems with that too?
Well, yeah, yes, but it's not his first time. And it wasn't his first time either. That's the sad part. So Epcot opens on July 15th, correct?
Correct.
So that's tax day. An appropriate way to spend your tax refund is to go to Epcot and enjoy Taste of Epcot, which is as close as we'll get to food and wine this year, I'm guessing. But it's real, and you can buy food, and so it's exciting. And they put out the menus for their 20 different marketplaces, each one unique. So you can eat your way around the world in future world. What's it going to be called once they redo Epcot? Like eating your way? Are they districts? Are they neighborhoods?
Neighborhoods.
Eating your way around the neighborhood.
But I think back still in the World Showcase, it'll be. I would assume that it would still be classified by country.
I'm sure that's still World Showcase, but I always thought I was eating my way around Future World too, and that's not really a world anymore.
There.
That's a neighborhood.
You're visiting your neighbors.
just like now, I go to my neighbors, I eat their food. It's pretty much the same thing, except now I have to pay for it. So that's some more exciting stuff that's coming. Mike, do you enjoy Food and Wine Festival?
Well, I can't eat any food, so no. And I'm not really a drinker. I'm sorry.
But you can bowl. Mike, despite his inability to eat and drink, I do recall at the last DCA Food and Wine Festival, Mike did an awesome live video that we really enjoyed. So if you want to go on YouTube and watch that.
I remember that was a fun one because I was so loopy that day. Even loopier than I am right now. So
that was really great. And then there's one more thing from Disney World we wanted to show you. Jeremiah, you want to hold it up?
Oh.
Well, the suspense.
Ta-da! The Clue Disney Villains version. So this is going to be difficult without the... There we go. I'm trying to do this without getting any of the glare. So it's Clue, but it has the Disney villains. Those are the little set pieces, and you can kill somebody with the shell, with the scarab, the scepter, the poison apple. I have not opened this, especially since this isn't mine. I'm glad I'm not opening it. This is Tony, one of our other Florida correspondents. He wanted this, so I picked it up for him. It is $44.95 before tax. I have not looked on Shop Disney to see if it's available there, but it was available at World of Disney, and it's just the box. I mean, you can see it looks like a book. It even has the bite. It's an amazing, just the entire piece is great. I'm just going to spin this for a while while Doobie listens to Rebecca.
I'm at work though. That was our CEO actually.
But yeah, that just came out very recently. Hi, Benji. Along with the Perfection game, the Candyland game, the Pirates Battleship. They've been putting out a lot of new versions of the board games. You're welcome, Tony.
Tony, you think we can get you to do an unboxing video for that? I don't know if that's within your purview, but I think it'd be fun. Since Jeremiah's not allowed to open it.
These live streams are basically just the Laughing Place chat room that people can watch. It's just like an open letter to each other.
Not only watch, but participate. See?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Jeremiah, I still have your Hatbox Ghost mug that I.
Oh, that's right. I'll be out to get that in a few.
I forgot something really important. I can't believe it. This is some serious news too. So let's straighten up. Rise of the Resistance. Mike, I think Mike can handle this. He hasn't done enough today.
Yeah, so you know how when you used to want to go on Rise of the Resistance, you'd have to show up real early and get into the park, either into Disneyland or Disney's Hollywood Studios prior to the park opening, so you can be ready on your phone, and everybody around you is like suddenly quiet, and you're all like trying to get into the boarding groups, and then like everybody's cheering and stuff. That won't necessarily happen for the time being, because they're going to do these boarding groups throughout the day now. There's one at 10 a.m., there's one at 1 p.m., and there's one at 4 p.m.
Is that West Coast time or East Coast time?
I hope it's East Coast time because it's in the East Coast.
It's funny. It's really the same because it's a 3-hour chunk each time. Yeah. Now, they had previously said they were going to be dispensing with virtual queues so that queues could hold people. So this is a slight change to that policy. Am I accurate there?
Sounds
right.
Right.
Yes is the answer.
Yeah, that was, especially like Mike said, on Main Street or on Hollywood Boulevard, first thing, it's just mass groups of people all waiting to do that. So having the boarding time separated will be nice. And hopefully it'll turn into like the Hagrid's motorbike, where the virtual queue drops not just at specific times, but throughout the day you can kind of log in and find a time pop up. I wanted to turn into more of the Max Pass system at Disneyland than okay, at 10, 1, or 4, we have to be ready to go, where it's more of just, hey, if you can, do it. But that will hopefully come when we kind of go back to normal.
Such as it is. And then one more Disney park thing I wanted to cover before we close. U.S. Disney fans tend to be a little jealous of what happens in Tokyo. They got this little park called Disney Sea, which apparently is halfway decent. I've never been there. And then just this week, we got some pictures. I don't know when it opened, to be honest, but we've got some pictures of their monorail, which, first of all, is cool already because it's got these Mickey-shaped windows. No brainer. But then look what they put inside the resort liner Type C. How cool is that?
So cool.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, even though it's a monorail, it's not. That is run by the country. It's not Disney run. So I think
everything's better.
Yeah. Well, I think the Oriental Land Company and the country got together to make the pretty Disney monorail.
And the best part, they have an observation car. That is so cool. So.
If you go on our YouTube, I have a video of when I was at Tokyo Disneyland and sat up in the front and videoed, so you can see the parking lot. It's exciting. Just shut up, Shelley. Just shut up.
Wait, Jeremiah has. I thought he just went to Disney World. Have you been any other Disney places, Jeremiah?
I just thought that's all we did.
As my mouth is opening, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna regret saying this. Sorry, I'm promoting our YouTube.
That's all the news. But before we go, I want to start a tradition here where I just very quickly ask our panel an A or B question, get a quick answer, just so everyone can kind of get to know us better, because I feel that's important for no particular reason. So I'm going to start this with the traditional A-B question for Laughing Place, and that's popcorn or churro. Jeremiah?
B.
Churro?
Yes.
Okay. Shelley?
Popcorn.
I fear asking you, Mike.
Well, I can eat popcorn.
Okay.
Of those two, I can eat popcorn, so that's my answer.
And before I give my
churros?
Popcorn buckets. I cannot eat a churro.
What
It's got gluten. I have celiac disease.
Oh, that's right.
Before that HIPAA compliant to say that live. Before we give my answer, I did want to put this very important message up on the screen. Jeremiah?
Yeah!
And I am with Christina. No question. The right answer is churros. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Lots of live stuff coming up. Tomorrow night, 7:30. Oh, Jeremiah has something to say.
What's your answer?
I said churros. The only answer. I forgive Mike because, we don't want to keel over.
But not Shelley.
No, I don't.
Shelley, your wrong answer. You're out of here.
Yes. Tomorrow at 7. All these times are Pacific. We've got lots of live stuff on Laughing Place tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube. You can watch more of me. You get your arm off the shot. You can watch more of me along with my son as we do Disney Trivia Live. And then lots of live stuff. What?
You're doing Lost this week?
We're doing Lost this week. Yes, we are.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Tomorrow at 1 p.m. East Coast and 11 o'clock.
So I just got to note the thing. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which will be noon East Coast, we'll be live from the Magic Kingdom.
Oh, I thought that was 1 o'clock. According to my notes, it said 1 o'clock. That's what I was trying to say.
I'm going to go with noon Eastern, 9 Pacific will be at Magic Kingdom. And then 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific will be at Disney's Animal Kingdom going live. And then again at 7:30 p.m. we'll be at Doobie's house going live. And then lots of stuff all week next week. But most importantly, next Friday is Disneyland's birthday. So we are going to be doing a 7-hour live stream, nonstop Disneyland streaming marathon featuring lots of fun stuff. We'll have an edition of Disney Trivia Live. Mike C. will be premiering his brand new documentary called Laps, which is really awesome. And then he'll be talking to the star of it. That's a documentary on a guy who is, what's his name again, John? Mike?
John Allen Hale.
Yes, John Allen Hale, who has ridden Radiator Springs more than 14 times. Am I correct?
Well, more than 14, yes.
So that's going to be exciting. And and we'll be doing a live edition of the Laughing Place podcast more than 10,000 times. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story. He's a pretty awesome guy, judging by the documentary. We'll be doing a Star Wars interview in there, live edition of the Laughing Place podcast. We'll be doing a watch along of a new Disney Plus show that'll be coming out soon. A new old Disney Plus show that'll be. Is it new old or new? New old. And lots of fun, lots of interaction, we hope. And
called a pre-opening report.
they could have created a brand new pre-opening. Sorry, I'm arguing with the CEO over here like I could ever win that. Anyway, lots happening next Friday, the 17th. Lots of fun. Thank you, Shelley, for joining us on short notice. You've been delightful. I look forward to my wife, Rebecca, coming back and you replacing Jeremiah. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.